Hi, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Funfold Friday. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Tonight's going to be a fun presentation because all of you selected what I'm doing tonight. So thank you to my Facebook followers and for voting all week. If you're not a Facebook follower, make sure you come and visit my Facebook page so that when I have these polls for helping me plan Fun Friday and Simply Stamping Sunday, you can be part of it. So you voted for a Christmas theme. You voted for the ornamental Christmas stamp set bundle. Hi, Angela. Thanks for joining. I am using this greeting from Delicate Pines because I needed a small greeting. So I did go and do that on my own because these greetings are pretty big, as you can see. And we're using the Traditions of Christmas designer series paper. And we are making a fun fold that has a wow factor. So that's what we're doing tonight. So I hope you like what I've designed. Here goes. So this is the front of the card. Now this is a card that it pops open a little bit. You'll see why in a minute. So I decided against making a belly band. I think that a belly band would have been a nice addition to this. It would keep it closed. If you're someone who really likes your cards to stay closed, then you will want to create a belly band for this. So when you open it up, you have a little bit of a pop-up, and then you have a hidden door that opens up to my greeting, some stamping, and more of the beautiful designer series paper. And when you close it, turn it over, I added some white on the back so that I could write my Christmas greeting with this. And then on the front, I decorated it with the designer series paper, and I used one of the dies. Well, actually, three of the dies. I used it for the top. I used four of the dies. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then added some gold ribbon. So I do like that surprise of the pop-up, and then of course the even bigger surprise of that hidden door. When you first open it, you might not even tell that there's a little door there. And so that is the card we're going to make. So it looks like it might be a little challenging, but it's not hard to recreate. So let's get started, and let's talk about what you need tonight for your materials. Now, I thought by adding the gold to the back to all of my pieces of designer series paper was going to add to the wow factor, and I think it really does. But you don't have to use the another layer under it. This could be layered right on the Secret Sea cardstock if you want it to. So I just wanted the cardstock so that when we get to that point. So I did some die cutting ahead of time. So I cut out, and there's one more piece somewhere hiding. Let me just make sure I didn't leave it over here in the side, or it's disappeared and we might have to cut out another piece. Let me just see if I can find it. When you add in all of the gold, it does make it be a lot of pieces. So I did just have this a little while ago, and now you can see it's missing. So we'll just die cut one of those out, or maybe I have one still in here that I die cut from before. I do, so we're just going to take that piece right there. And so those are the things that I die cut. Those are the 4 pieces, 3 gold and 1 of the Secret Sea. Okay, so here's what you need. And we're going to be scoring both of the Secret Sea. And I do have my cheat sheet here, so I have all the... So we're going to need 2 pieces of Secret Sea Cardstock. This piece here measures 5.5 by 6.5, and we're going to be scoring it. This piece here measures 3.5 by 10.5, and we're going to be scoring this as well. And I'll go over those dimensions in just a minute. Then for the back side, I have a piece of basic white cardstock that measures 4 by 5.25, and I have a strip. I think this is the one. Let me just make sure I'm not grabbing the wrong one. This measures 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to trim it at 4 inches. So that's going to go with that piece of paper. So I'll set that down here. Then we're going to need a piece of basic white cardstock, another piece. Let me just find it in here. Oh my goodness, am I leaving? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to need one piece that measures 2.25 by 3.25. We're going to be stamping on that. And then we need 3 pieces of designer series paper. That's that same size, 2.25 by 3.25. And then I have 4 pieces of gold. They measure at 2 3/8 by 3 3/8. So here. Then I have 2 pieces of 2 different designs of pieces that measure 2 by 5.25, and the gold measures 2 1/8 by 5 3/8. So we have 2 of those. And then I have 2 little pieces, and I can see I forgot to put this in for the second trim, so I'll put this back in, but this piece will measure 7/8 by 3 1/4, and the gold measures 1 inch by 3 3/8, and I'll just trim that piece to fit. And then finally, we need, we have 2 more pieces after this. I have a piece of designer series paper that measures 1 3/4 by 3 1/4, and this measures 1 7/8 by 1 7/8 by 3 3/8. And then finally, and you can see where I cut some of the things out because I didn't want to waste a huge piece of gold foil. I have a piece of designer series paper that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and then the piece of gold measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so let's start with getting the stamping done, and that way it will be all set. I'm just going to put this on my cheat sheet because the stamping is going to go over the edge. So I'm going to stamp my greeting first because I wanted a greeting that was going to fit on this smaller piece of paper. So I really needed to look for a sentiment that would fit the design of the card and fit this piece of paper. And so I went with Warmest Winter Wishes because it fits it perfectly. I actually tried the Warmest Wishes, Warm Wishes, Peace and Joy, or something like that. Whatever that one says, and I couldn't make it work. I was trying to do stamp looking the way I wanted to. So the reason I wanted to stamp the greeting first is I want to make sure my tree is going to fit on this perfectly because I need to have room for the star. So there's the Warmest Winter Wishes, and I also went back and forth thinking about whether or not I should emboss this star in gold, and I chose not to, but that's definitely something you could do with this card. Okay, so there's our inside piece. Perfect. Can move our cheat sheet out of the way, and I'm not going to put this on the gold first because I just want to show you what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to take this piece, and I know we're going to run out of my adhesive tonight, so I've got one ready, and I am just going to put this at the bottom of the card. This is going to be for our back piece. And then I'll just take my snips and cut that piece off. So I hope you had fun in participating in all the polls and choosing tonight's card. I actually had a lot of fun as I was participating as well. Okay, so that is all done. I'm going to just leave that there, put these out of the way, and I'm going to get my scoreboard. And I'm going to grab my little tool. All right, so on this first piece that I'm using, this is the 3.5 by 10.5, and I am going to want to score at 2 inches, I think. Yes, 2 and 3. So I'm going to score, let me just make sure I'm at the 2 inches, 3 inches, and then I'm going to score at 5.5 inches. And remember, I will be putting these dimensions in the comments for the Facebook post, and I will be putting it finally 8 inches. So we have 2 inches, 3 inches, 5.5 inches, and 8 inches. I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to take this piece of Secret Sea that measures 5.5 by 8.5, and I want to go along the 6.5, not 5.5 by 8.5. It's 5.5 by 6.5, and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. So we want it scored at 4 1/4, so we have that 5.5 by 4 1/4 card when folded, and it will fit nicely into an envelope. Okay, there's all the scoring, so you can see how really easy that part is. Okay, I'm going to get a bone folder. So the first thing I'm going to do is fold and crease that. And just to show you, when I put this in with just the designer series paper, without adding the gold, you can see that it looks beautiful and just fine. So you don't have to add that extra bulk to the card by adding the gold. I'm going to, because I just wanted it to have that extra wow factor. So we'll put this all together in just a minute. So I have folded that. I've put a really nice crease on. Now, for this fold here, we are going to want to do a mountain fold. I just have to make sure of this. Mountain fold, and then valley fold, valley fold. Let me just look to see. Yes, valley, valley, mountain, mountain. Okay, so this is going to be filled in a mountain, both of those, and these two are going to be in valley folds. So I'm just going to give those a nice crease. So this is so thanks, Lynn, for joining tonight, and I already said hello to Angela and Roz. I'm glad you all can make it tonight. All right, so now I'm just going to fold that last one. Okay, so this is where it's going to make our little pop-up, and this is going to be where it's going to fold over. So we'll put that in the card in just a minute. Okay, let's do some decorating on this. So I'm going to get this piece. So I need these pieces and this piece and this piece to start. Now I chose not to put gold behind the part on the back, and I did that purposely so that it would be one place I wasn't adding a lot of bulk. So this is just going to go on the back of the card, and it's where I can write my greeting little message to who I'm sending the card to. So on the front of the card, we're going to put one of the pieces that measures 2 by 5 1/4, and we're going to put this on a piece of 2 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of gold. Now, I probably should have cut something out of the middle of this so I'm not wasting it. And I just got so busy I didn't have a chance. Hi, Suzette. Thanks for joining tonight. So this panel is going to go right on the front of the card. There we go. So we have the back and we have the front. Now on the inside, we're going to take this other piece of 2 by 5 1/4, and it's going to go on to this piece of gold that measures the same as the last one, 2 1/8 by 5 3/8. So let me just add. So I'm using 2 different designs for this card. Hi, Joyce. Thanks for joining tonight. So I'm using 2 designs, and I'm using this, I love this beautiful red with poinsettias on it, and I could not put a piece here. That would save on some of the thickness, but again, I just couldn't resist adding. I didn't want just this panel back here to have stuff on it. I could have also just decorated the inside with the Silent Snowfall paper, and that would have been really pretty. So I have to be careful when I line this up because I only left a small edge around, which is fine, but you just want to put it on correctly the first time, and I didn't get it over far enough. Okay, that looks good. And so now I am going to add some adhesive to the back. And this is all ready to go. Now, these 2 pieces here, you have to put in the card before you have to put it in before you actually add the insert for the inside. So that is really important. Okay, so now we've got all of this. There's nothing else we can add to this. Now we're ready to do this piece. And so this piece is we are going to attach this so it goes right to the fold, and you want to center it. It's not quite centered yet. So that's the first thing we're going to add. So I am going to put my adhesive. I'm going to really give this a lot of adhesive so it holds in place. And then I am going to sort of line this up first, making sure it's as even as I can make it with and I put it on the wrong side. No, I didn't. I unfolded it wrong. Okay, so that's on the right side. So now I'm going to want to add adhesive to this. So what I'm going to do to get it right, I am going to fold that fold out there. And then I'm going to fold this over here. And I'm going to add my adhesive to the back of that middle panel. And then what I'm going to do to make sure it's adhered properly, I'm just going to close the card. So now when you open it, you have that little pop-up. This is going to close. So when it closes, it's going to look like this. And then when you do open it, you'll open it like that. Okay, so let's start taking care of all this stuff. We've got the card made now. We just need to do the decorating. So I'm going to start with that inside panel. and I knew I'd run out of adhesive. Just making sure I get all the extra adhesive off. Okay. And I kept one of these handy. So like I said, this is not difficult to create, and it's definitely a wow card. Okay, so this is going to go on one of these pieces of gold. So we're going to line that up. You have a little space here to write somebody's name or a very simple message. And this piece is going to go right in this section. There we go. So we have these three pieces of gold. Now I have to say I love this this paper, and I feel it really makes a very elegant and beautiful Christmas card. So if you haven't purchased yet, you may want to do that. I probably should have put that on the front of this that closes in, because that piece is just beautiful. But I can do the same with this one. So I'm just getting that lined up on the gold. And we'll put this one right on the front. There we go. And this one's going to go right here. Oops, forgot to put it on the gold. You definitely could put all of these pieces on before you glue it down, but I always worry that I'm going to I'll glue it all down and then I've glued it in the wrong direction or something. Okay, so this part, we're getting there. So this piece will go onto the front, the smaller piece, and then I just have to cut that piece. I realized I always cut everything out first for both cards, and I did realize on my other one that I had forgot to cut the bottom off to 3 1/4. So I just have to do that. So this piece is going to go right on the front, and then to 3 1/4. I think I'll cut a little bit of the flower off. So let's just get this piece and get the last bit on. And I can just close this to put that down. That seems just a little wide for some reason. So I'm just going to trim a little bit of the gold off and give it just a little bit less of a footprint. So I think I cut this piece just a little bit too wide. Okay, let's close this up. Oh, that's much better. Okay, so our card is made. We just have to decorate it now. So it's going to open up to that little fun pop-up, and then it's going to open up to the stamping in the middle, and then we have the back. So let's decorate it now. So by using this paper that's just so luxurious, I did not want to use a lot of color on the front. I wanted to have however I put the front together, I wanted it to really complement the front of the card. So this is what I decided to do. I cut out of a scrap of Secret Sea this ornament from the dies, and then I used the inlay to cut out some of the gold. Now I could have, and I still could do this, I could put this right on the circle and still have the gold through. I wasn't thinking about the circle at first. I was thinking of just putting this over on the card and putting it here, but I didn't feel it was large enough because it made it a little bit larger. So I'm still going to use this because I want to pop this up. So I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back. And I am just going to line this up. There we go. And then this is the top of the ornament that you would use, that you would have on an ornament that would have the hook there for you to add. So I'm going to add this right at the top. And then I thought that I just felt something was missing. So I grabbed some of my pink and gold low profile pearls, and I took some of the small ones, and I started one right in the center under that hole, and then I just made a line of them. And we'll just add one more. And then to really make it pop, I tied a bow with that beautiful gold ribbon. And that's what our ornament looks like for the front of the card. So I'm going to put this on with dimensionals onto the gold circle. So like I said, I could have put this right against the gold circle, and then I could have probably popped up the circle. But I already had this done for my first card, so I decided, nah, I just keep it the same. All right. So this, I'll take off the backing, and then we're just going to put this on the front. Like I said, the card itself, because you said you want it easy to replicate and a little bit of wow. And so I hope so I'm just going to put this on, try to center that. So this is what the whole front piece now looks like. I'm really happy with that. So when I put this on, I am going to try to center it kind of on the front of the card, but I still want to see this designer series paper, so I don't want to cover everything up. So it's going to be just a little bit off. I'm going to add some adhesive to this side of the circle. I'm not going to add a lot because I don't want to stick the whole thing down. All right, so line this up. I think I'm going to have this point line right up with the seam. And here we go. Our wow card and fun fold is all done. So tell me in the comment what you think. And I also want to hear, do you want to do this again? Do you want to help me come up with a Fun Fold Friday? I'm going to definitely have you choose a set for Simply Stamping Sunday. But, and remember, we can add a belly band to this if you are bothered by it being closed. I'm not. It's going to stand up nicely, so you don't have to worry about that part. And I'm happy with it. So thank you for your help this week, helping me come up with a design and stamp sets and all of that. Visit my Facebook page starting on Sunday because it will be December soon, and I need to plan a Fun Fold Friday. And we'll probably do this for another Fun Fold Friday, maybe even next week. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the help this week. I'll see you Sunday night for Simply Stamping Sunday. Have a fabulous weekend, everyone.